There is a situation.
Spokesperson of the New Force. Spokesperson for the New Force political movement. Shalimar Abbiusi. Shalimar Abbiusi.
Shalimar Abbiusi has been...
Yes, she's been arrested.
I even told them if there's anything that I have to rectify, let me know, then I will gladly do so. And then they said, oh, it's a call from above, you have to stay. So that is when I was arrested.
This was you at GH1?
Yes, that was me at GH1.
After GH1, what was your next role?
I did some charitable projects, the dam spillage in Volta region. We saw some other people come out to donate and show support, and that happened to be the New Force people.
They came to donate as well?
Correct.
Is that the first time you had met them?
Correct.
So would I be right in saying that was the time you got the role?
I obviously didn't know there was politics behind. A few days after I received a call from they asked me a lot of questions about the New Force.
There was no contracting in place?
No.
So you were not paid for the job that you did?
I was never paid for that video.
How were you sustaining yourself financially? How did you get yourself back into the country again?
It's just good to be here. It's like a full circle moment.
Connected Minds podcast.
Why should anyone watch this conversation to the end?
I think there are a lot of unanswered questions that people have. I think a lot of people also are waiting for me to speak since a very long time. This is actually the first time that I speak on record in Ghana since my case happened.
And since that case happened, a lot of things have happened in your life.
A lot has
Which I definitely
changed.
think my audience and some of the people who follow you must get to know. You're welcome to Connected Minds podcast. My name is Derrick Abaitey. And remember, on the 9th of September, we're going to Osei for Connected Minds Live. If you don't know what Connected Minds Live is, every year we converge as a community. Last year was in Accra, but this year is going to be in Kumasi. We're expecting 1,600 young people, aspiring entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs, to be under one roof at KNUST. So grab your ticket. It's going to be in the description and then also in the comments. My guest today is Shalimar Abbiusi. And we are going to have conversations about her path, what she has been through, and the lessons she's learned from it. And I'm sure you're going to learn a thing or two. So stay here. And when you make it to the end, I'd love to know. Now, let's take you all the way back to Belgium. How was it growing up?
My father is Italian, my mother is Belgian. So my father came with my grandparents to Belgium in the 60s. My father was actually born in Belgium, but the rest of his siblings came with my grandparents to Belgium to work in the charcoal mines to provide a better life for my father's family. And in that time, they were seen as immigrants, Italians, Spanish, Greeks, they were seen as immigrants in Belgium. So growing up, I did experience a lot of bullying. I was always the weird kid. I was very different than all of my classmates. I was seen as the Italian kid with the curly hair, was wearing glasses. I was very intelligent. So that basically opened up the door for a lot of bullying and picking. But I still was a very good student. I was playing piano, violin. I didn't have that many friends when I was young, but when I was growing a bit older, going into my 14, 15 years, like when I was becoming a teenager, I did develop some more confidence, you can say. I had some friends that were a bit older than me, so I wanted to go out, I wanted to go clubbing. I was very mature at a very young age because I'm an only child. I think I was a lot around adults, so that also made me more mature than my age mates. So I had older friends. I was rebelling a bit against my parents because I wanted to go out. I wanted to do my own thing. And then basically things started to get really good for me around 17, 18.
And then the time came when you went for the pageant. Now, talk me through that journey.
So the first time I competed in a pageant in Belgium, it was coincidence, let's say. Well, I don't believe in coincidence, but it was just by chance, basically. I was out with one of my friends, and then somebody approached us and they said, hey, do you girls want to compete in a pageant that is coming up? And I was like, oh, yeah, why not? Let's do it. It might be fun. And then I ended up winning.
Yeah. How did it make you feel?
I think that was a big turnaround in my life because Because I was so different growing up,
When you say different, what do you mean?
I looked different, first of all.
Right.
I had curly hair. Belgian children don't really have curly hair. I was not as skinny as Belgian kids. I had a weird name that is not Belgian at all. So I was very different from everyone. And winning that pageant, I think it confirmed that you can be different and still beautiful. And it's not just beauty that made me qualify to win the title. It was also my talents, my mindset, my ambition, and my intelligence.
Was there a part of you that, due to the fact that you were different, you always wanted to feel a sense of importance or special growing up?
That's a good question, actually. I think maybe as a child, when you're being bullied, you do feel like you don't matter, you're not important. So maybe that pageant, winning that title, validated all my childhood trauma to say, like, no, you are important, you do matter, you are beautiful. I do think that was an important phase in my life to give me more confidence as well and really get to know who I am.
Talk me through your education. I mean, you've done the pageant, you've won. What did you study in school?
I studied biomedical science. So I was studying to become a medical lab technician. I did that work for 4 years and a half, almost 5 years. My department was chemistry in the university hospital, doing some research. It was very interesting, and I was very passionate about it. It was also helping people in the medical field. And I think it was also something that I enjoyed doing, but it also showed me that there is more out there than just being in a lab 24/7.
Right. Then when you won the pageant, did you have to stop, chasing the dream of working in a lab?
No, I was doing the work. So I was 18, so I was studying. So I was studying to become a biomedical lab tech, but then I was scouted to represent Belgium internationally on the international stage. So then I was starting to travel. And my first travel was when I was 18 years to China by myself for a month. And back in the days, we had phones, but it wasn't like today that you just make a call. We have WhatsApp and all these things. So it wasn't like that. So we were communicating through email. So that was a big step because you are going somewhere with 50 other girls from different countries, different languages, different nationalities. And it can be very spicy, it can be very competitive. So it was a really, really good way of shaping me and making me into the person that I am today.
The time came when you made your first trip to sub-Saharan, Africa, which was the first country you came to?
Ghana.
Okay, talk me through that.
So in 2017, I came to represent Belgium for a beauty pageant here.
Yeah.
And that is how I traveled to Ghana for the first time. And I immediately fell in love. I just loved the culture, the warm welcome, the food.
Was there any other representation that you had to do in other African countries apart from Ghana?
No, it was India, China, and Europe.
Okay, so Ghana was the focus for the pageant at the time.
Correct.
I'm trying to figure out whether the same feeling you felt about Ghana, you had that in other parts of Africa.
I didn't. Even until today, when I travel to other countries, Ghana just feels different.
What about Ghana?
There's something about Ghana. I think the peace. People are very peaceful here. There's liberty here. There's freedom here. There is warmth, culture, heritage. There's so much that Ghana has to offer. So it makes Ghana different from every other country that I've been to.
When you first came to Ghana, did you make friends initially?
For the pageants?
Yes.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
All right.
I did make friends, but those girls are from all different countries. So
I've just arrived in a country and say I go to Nairobi and then all of a sudden, I fell in love with the country and I want to come back. I want to stay here. I want to do more things here. I would suppose that there would be somebody on the ground that will show me places that will make me fall in love even more. Did you have anybody like that in Ghana that showed you around the country?
Not at that point in time because it was a pageant. So I think we were here for 10 days. It is a very short time. You're here for a competition. So yes, you see things, you travel a bit. But it wasn't until 3 years later when it was COVID and I was still working in the lab that I took a break and I came to Ghana for a holiday with some Ghanaian friends that I have in Belgium. So it was then that I fell in love again. I was like, yes, this is exactly how I remembered it to be: fun, warm welcome, vibrant, good food, great atmosphere. So I was like, okay.
Did you come December time?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I actually didn't.
What time of the year was it?
I think it was April.
All right. And you did a lot of parties and eating.
A whole lot of things. We went to the beach, we went to nice restaurants. Obviously, clubbing was part of it as well. So we just had a great time.
And what informed the decision to stay in Ghana?
That was a bit later. So I started to network and just getting to know a lot of people, getting to see more opportunities that are here. And obviously it was COVID. So I really wanted to take a break from the lab. And I was choosing between UAE, because I was there for a little bit as well, or Ghana. And then I actually was offered an opportunity to be a presenter for GHONE TV.
What year was this?
This was 2022, right before the World Cup.
So this was you at GH1?
Yes, that was me at GH1.
All right. Right before the World Cup, you said?
Yes. So this show was around the World Cup.
Okay. So how did you get this job?
Well, they just said, okay, we think you match the profile, because I was doing TV in Europe as well. I've been a reality TV personality there for a very long time, appearing on TV, interviews and all these kinds of things. So they were like, okay, we think you would be a good fit for our station. Would you like to be a presenter? And I was like, okay, why not? And it just happened to be around the World Cup. So I believe they have been doing this show for a couple years, or every time around the World Cup, they have a new edition of Cheers, which is the show. And then they suggested I would present it. And I was like, why not? Let's go for it.
So during these times when you took the opportunity to work at GH1, I'm guessing you got the job through your network. Did you have work permit to be able to do this?
I had the permits to do whatever I was supposed to do for GH1, yes.
Why did you leave GH1?
Oh, the show ended, the World Cup ended, and then other opportunities arose. They didn't have a new show for me at that point in time. So I decided to focus on other things. I was doing a lot of charitable work at that time, philanthropic work, also doing projects as a brand ambassador, influencing and things like that. So I was at that point between Belgium and Ghana.
But at these times, you were working more in Ghana than you were in Belgium.
It was both. It was both. I was going back and forth. And here it was more like charitable projects or influencing, general things, yeah.
When you are moving between Belgium and Ghana, hosting TVs in Belgium, some in Ghana, Pageant as well, and then also your philanthropic work as well, what were you really trying to cement as what you wanted to do as a person?
So at that point in time, obviously, I was on a different path than I am now. So I also got into acting. So that was the path that I was going towards, because I didn't want to work in the lab anymore. I needed a break. I was like, let's see what I can do in the media space, because that was also my passion. I really enjoyed acting. I really enjoyed being on TV. So I was like, let's see how I can also use my influence and my platform to do good, because being here a lot of the time and spending a lot of time here, you just see that there are also things that you can help people with. You can make impact here. You can make more impact here than in Europe, obviously, because there's more things to do here. And I felt like when you have a platform or you're a public figure, you also have to use that platform and that influence to help people and to do good.
After GH1, what was your next role?
I just went for interviews, just some media appearances. I acted in a series as well. Then obviously I was doing some brand endorsements and things like that. I did some charitable projects. I don't know if you saw the Volta, the dam spillage in the Volta region.
Yes.
So I also went there to donate with my team. For the victims to donate some relief items and things like that. So those were the things that I was doing. I was slowly building my brand. And then obviously we know what my next role became. I became the spokesperson of the New Force movement.
The charitable work that you were doing at the Volta spillage, how did you get yourself in there? Because I'm sure you couldn't have just woken up and said, I'm going to help these guys. There must have been a network. There must have been some contacts. There must have been someone who said that this is going to be good for your brand.
No, actually, it really was like that. I woke up, I saw the news, and I called my people from my team and I was like, we have to do something. Do you see what's going on? And I felt really bad when I saw that nobody was really helping. Even the policymakers at that time, they weren't really forthcoming in helping the people. So it was like, can we do something? Is there anything that we can do? So I started to make calls. I started to gather items like soap, sanitary pads, some food, just basic relief items. And I called my team and I was like, let's just go and donate this to the people. So we drove there. And then we encountered now Honorable Minister Ablakwa. And at that time, he was the MP of that region. And he was very grateful for our support. So we donated the items. We had some conversation with the people. We actually went to see the situation. And it was so heartbreaking. It was so heartbreaking. So many people lost their homes, lost their shops, their business, everything. They lost everything. And I was just very, very touched by the situation there and to see the people suffering like that. And then we left. And I thought, I told Honorable Ablakwa, if you need any support or any help, anything that I can do with my platform, I'm willing to help. And the good thing is, some days after we did our donation, we saw some other people come out to donate and show support, which I think was amazing. And that was the goal of me going there and to use my platform to create awareness so more people would come and support. And then he called me and he said he was expecting somebody else to come and donate. And he asked me to come and support with the donation. And that happened to be, at that point in time, the New Force people.
They came to donate as well.
Correct.
The second time.
Correct.
Is that the first time you had met them?
Correct.
So would I be right in saying that was the time you got the role?
There was a conversation initially, and the leader of the New Force, he was like, oh, we are still looking to add some people to our team. We have a movement for youth, to empower the youth, to speak on certain things, to get more job opportunities for the youth and speak on empowering the people. And I was like, wow, that's really amazing. So then we decided to have a meeting. And that is when I was offered the role as spokesperson for the movement.
Did you see it as one of your charitable works or as a job?
It was absolutely something that I saw as a charitable project to advocate for humanity, because that is what I was told, that it's a movement to empower the youth. And I was like, great initiative. Why not?
Let me stop you here for a minute. So if it's your first time watching Connected Minds, or you have been here before but still have not subscribed, do us a favor, because majority of the people that watch our videos have not subscribed. This doesn't help us grow beyond what we expect. So help us by hitting the subscribe button. Thank you. Now let's get back to the conversation. All right, now talk to me. How did you eventually create that famous video that we all saw for the group?
After our meeting, they suggested I would become the spokesperson. And I was like, okay, not knowing that it had any political tone or background. I was not aware at that point. So I thought I was going to be the face for a movement, a charitable movement, and basically the face of a humanitarian project, which I love to do. So then they said, oh, let's record a video, this and this. And I was like, okay, why not? We were still working on finalizing contracts and things like that. So there was no contracts in place or anything when that video was shot. So they said, let's do a try. Let's see how it's going to come across on camera. Everything went very, very fast. I think the video came out a few days after we recorded it, which was maybe like 1 week or 2 weeks after I met them. So it was very, very fast. And obviously within 24 hours of releasing the video, I had 1.2 million views on X, which made the video go viral.
There was no contracting in place?
No.
So you were not paid for the job that you did?
I was never paid for that video.
Talk to me, when it went viral, how did it make you feel?
I was like, wow, this is getting really big. Like, it's really going places. And a few days after, I received a call from immigration, and I knew it was related to that video.
How did you know?
Because there was nothing else that could have triggered that call besides the video that was going viral. So it was in every newspaper, it was on all the TV channels talking about this lady who came to spearhead the New Force campaign. And I obviously didn't know there was politics behind. But now looking back at everything, I totally understand why it went viral and why people were reacting the way they did.
If everything was okay to your knowledge with your documentation, why would they call you?
Why wouldn't they? Because I was the first face that came out that had anything to do with the New Force movement. At that point, they already mounted a lot of billboards with a man in a mask, which was creating a lot of speculation with stating certain things, certain quotes, and everything was still a big question mark. So now this foreign lady comes out to say, I'm the spokesperson of the New Force, so that is going to ring bells, obviously. So it makes sense that they called me to ask a couple questions.
That night, while you were in the cell, what was running through your mind?
It was very eye-opening. It was men and women together in the cell, and there were a lot of people that were there for a very long time, 9 months, 6 months, because they didn't have money to buy a ticket or to get a lawyer. And these things were just little immigration issues that they were facing. So they transported me to National Intelligence. I didn't know at first where I was going to go to. They transported me to National Intelligence Bureau, where they then, basically arrested me. And they kept me there for a week.
I saw an image of your mom.
Yes.
How did she feel about the whole thing?
My parents were visiting when this case happened.
Yep.
My mom and my dad, and obviously they did not know where I was the first couple of days. They were asking questions because at that point I was also filming for Madame, the series Madame. So my friends told them that I was on set. I couldn't come home for 1 or 2 days because I had to do some recordings at night. But my parents felt like there's something wrong. Like she would never do this. She would never go without communication for days. So they were so scared. They were so heartbroken. They were hysterical. And I think we also saw the videos that came out of them, that came out with them crying and requesting for my release and all of those things. So yeah, it was very traumatic for them.
Were there no conversations of them requesting you to at least just stop it all and they just return back home?
Of course.
And how did you take that conversation?
They were not so comfortable with me coming back to Ghana initially, which I understand. Of course, I'm an only child. And they were like, why do you want to go back and just leave it? And I was like, no, I know that I haven't done anything wrong. And God being so good, I've been vindicated by an ECOWAS court judgment. I also don't have any charges here in Ghana. I've been fully cleared. So they still felt like, are you sure you want to go back? And I was like, yes, because I know where my heart is, I know where my home is, and I know where my calling is. And it is not here, it is on the continent.
Shally, one of your statements you
Yeah.
made very earlier on is that, you started calling Ghana your second home.
Mm-hmm.
At these times, these 7 days, when things were getting really rough for you, did you still feel that Ghana was your second home?
I don't think that is what I was thinking about. I was just thinking about my safety.
Okay.
I was thinking about getting released. I was thinking about proving my innocence. And I was thinking of, why is all of this happening? Why is all of this happening to me? I don't understand what is going on. Those were the things that I was questioning myself. Not about, is Ghana my second home?
At this point, had you received your contract yet?
No, no.
And how did your group support you in this?
They stayed in the background, and everybody knows that, they didn't show face when this happened. They did help me to get a lawyer, which I think was the right thing to do. And that's about it.
Did you get compensated for the work you did eventually?
No, I didn't. I never got any compensation for that video. But it's okay.
Looking back, how do you feel about it?
I actually feel like it was a blessing in disguise, because where I am now in life is it's such a turnaround, and such a positive turnaround. So I feel like it elevated me. First of all, I was able to clear my name. I've been vindicated. And then it also elevated me and put me on a very different path in life, which I'm so grateful for, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for what happened to me. And I'll even tell you a little story about when I was at the NIB cells, which was a very traumatic experience. But I just kept believing and trusting in God. And I requested for a Bible at that point in time. And I think they gave me the Bible after 5 days. I had to wait 5 days, 4 or 5 days before I finally got the Bible. And I just started reading, because I'm a Christian as well. So I was like, God, there has to be a reason why this is happening to me. And I started to read the story of King David, and all of his challenges, his tribulations, and then his success, basically. And God was just speaking to me. I just kept praying and asking God, like, why is this happening? What are you trying to do in my life? And God just started to speak to me and say, like, you have to see this. You have to go through this. Every person in the Bible, like every important character, has gone through so many things. Look at Joseph. He was also in prison, right? So King David, everybody had their challenges. And God just told me, you have to see what is happening and what is going on, so that you can be a voice for other people, so that you can speak on these things. I'm going to use you as a tool for my kingdom. I'm going to use you as a tool for people. And I just didn't understand, like, how me, like Shalimar from Belgium, from a small town, what do you mean? And now, 2 years later, I do see those things unfolding in my life. I still don't have the full scope of what is happening in my life or why this happened to me. But I do see things unfolding, and I do start to see God's hand in everything. Yeah.
The question you kept asking yourself, why is this happening to me?
Mm-hmm.
At some point, did you come to the realization to have an answer for the why? Did you come to see why it was happening to you at that time it was?
Yes, I know why.
Okay.
Well, that is my understanding of the why. And as I said, I think it was meant to, first of all, make me strong. It was meant to, you have to break somebody before you can put the pieces back together and make them stronger and better and elevate them. So I do think this was a very pivotal moment in my life to get me where I have to be today.
Then you got deported, and then you said, I'm going to come back, where you had conversations with, your parents about that.
Mm-hmm.
But how did you get yourself back into the country again?
So after winning the ECOWAS court case, that gave me the vindication and the clearance basically to come back, but it was an election year, so it wouldn't have been advisable for me to come back at that point in time. So I waited till after election, and I actually waited also for the New Force people to initiate something for me to come back. And I believe it was 1 year and 6 months 1 year and 7 months when I still saw nothing was happening. So I decided just to take matters into my own hands. Yeah, so basically I managed to clear myself. I managed to get my documentation sorted, and I managed to come back to the country. And I'm very glad I did.
Why?
Well, because Ghana is such an important place to me, and it will always play an important part and role in my life, obviously because of what happened, but also I still see it to be my home. So coming back here, managing the situation, being able to clear my name, being able to come out of such a situation with being a powerful voice now, and being an inspiration to young people, being an inspiration to women, speaking up for human rights and women, I think that is something that I'm very grateful for. And I'm also very grateful for the country that they have embraced me back. And it's just good to be here. It's like a full circle moment.
Did you come back to work for your old role again?
No.
Is that the reason why you came back?
No, absolutely not. That is a chapter that I've closed. I am focused now on my diplomatic assignments. I'm focused on my humanitarian work with...
So before that, I think you released a statement recently.
Correct.
That you are dissociating yourself from your past role.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because I've outgrown it, first of all. As I said, it is a chapter that is closed for me. It has been closed for some time. I've been doing so many amazing projects across the continent. I'm focusing on my humanitarian work now with my foundation, the I Am Human Foundation. Correct, exactly. So I feel like it is just something that is in the past. I don't want to be involved in politics. Now that I'm fully aware it is politics, I don't want to be involved in politics and be part of the political campaign. I wish them all the best. But for me, this is something that I would like to leave behind. And I'm looking to the future. It's going to be a bright future. There's going to be so many amazing things that I'm going to do, but it's going to be from a diplomatic and humanitarian aspect. Yeah.
What birthed the I Am Human? At what point?
Great question. After my court case win, and actually the whole period, the first year of me being back in Belgium, I was going through a lot of pain and some form of depression, you can say, because obviously you have to recalibrate, and it was very traumatic what I've been through. But I also felt like that pain cannot go to waste. I need to do something with this, with what I've seen and what I've experienced, so that now I can help other people. And that is when I had the idea to start a foundation to speak on human rights and to empower women and to help development in the continent of Africa. So that is when I came up with the name I Am Human, obviously, because I'm Human stands for human rights. And every person deserves, regardless of religion, race, background, education, deserves and has the right to basic human needs, which is education, which is clean water, which is healthcare. So all these things is what brought I Am Human to life.
And then you had a role as well with the AU. How did all that come about?
I think the past 2 years, things have tremendously changed for me. I think the trajectory that I'm on now is completely different from what I was on before.
How is it different? What has changed?
I was more in the media space at that time. I was focusing on TV, acting, influencing social media. So around the same time, I was called by then the presiding officer of ECOSOC, which is the Economic and Social Council of African Union. And they had an event going on in Morocco for a new organization that is accredited by AU and ECOSOC for transportation and logistics. So they then invited me to come and be the electoral journalist for that organization. And then they also appointed me for the international relations of that organization. Now I'm basically in the diplomatic space, working as an diplomatic affairs advisor, giving advice to governments across Africa. I'm dedicating my platform and my voice now to shedding light on certain things within the continent, good things, and also things that we can improve. One of the examples was my project in Sierra Leone, which I did under the invitation of the vice president. So Sierra Leone is a pioneer when it comes to women empowerment. So they wanted to showcase through my platform and my voice all the amazing things they have been doing for women. For example, there is an act that states that at least 30% of high-placed roles should be occupied with women. And that is also in government, which I think is amazing. So that is how I basically started working as an external advisor with African Union, ECOSOC African Union. And basically from there, other governments, other African countries started to call on me, obviously because the ECOWAS case went very far. And actually from there, things have been picking up and it's been an amazing journey.
And I think, I saw a beautiful image on the internet, and it was quite touching with you and this little girl.
Oh,
can you talk me through that?
Yes, this was in Sierra Leone. I also did a project with my foundation. We went to visit the disabled community and also the less privileged communities of women, the Krube community. But this particular picture was in the community of the disabled people, where we went to share food with them and we listened to their stories, we listened to their needs, and we also did a small donation with funds and food to support them.
Are we going to be seeing you traveling around the rest of Africa a lot more?
Absolutely, absolutely. That is definitely on the agenda.
And recently, I saw you as well with some images in Nigeria. What were you doing there?
Yes. I've been visiting Nigeria quite frequently. So one of the things that I did was a project with the Senate. So we had a discussion on collaboration across Africa. Then we did a project with one of the senators. That was actually on my birthday last year. We did a very big donation for the market women of Edo State. With the previous governor and now Senator Oshomole. It was so amazing. It was such a wonderful day where we donated funds to the market women to expand their businesses, as well as some fabric and some support for the local communities. And recently I also met with Oniru of the Iru land in Lagos to work on a project to basically showcase the rich culture and heritage of the Iru land.
And all of this happened after the ECOWAS?
Yes.
Your network has really expanded?
Yes, correct. Tremendously. It's God's grace.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Is there any other beautiful things we are going to be seeing you doing in the next few years?
Absolutely. I definitely want to do more with my foundation. And basically showcase the beauty of Africa, change the narrative of Africa, because there is always so much negativity surrounding the continent of poverty, disease, war, but that is not the truth. And I also feel responsible as a European living here to be a voice for the stories of Africa and show people the truth, show people that it is safe to invest here, show people that it is safe to be here in general, show people the rich culture, the heritage, the beauty, the warm people, and all those things.
From what I recall from your story, there hasn't been any aspect where we've spoken about money. Mm-hmm. While you were in Ghana, while all these things were happening, how were you sustaining yourself financially?
Well, I have a good background in Belgium. I don't really like to talk about these kind of things because I don't have anything to prove, but I do have some properties in Belgium. I did have a lot of savings. Obviously, my job as a biomedical lab tech, I was making a lot of money from that. And I was also working as an influencer, modeling, pageant queen, like all those things, obviously sustain myself, and then doing some business here and there. So, yeah.
What lessons do you think young girls can learn from what you went through and what you have become?
I like that question. So I think that no matter what, no matter the adversities, if you have a goal, stay focused on your goal. You can overcome any challenge. And sometimes it is very intimidating to be a woman in the room with men who are policymakers, powerful men, but don't let that silence or stop you. We women, we also have a voice, and our voice also matters. And this actually brings me to a recent project I did for the government of Libya in Tripoli. They invited me to come on board as an external advisor to a newly founded committee within the government. And I was the only woman in the room. And even other women who were like assistants to the men, the policymakers, they approached me and they said, wow, this is the first time that we see a woman seated at the table with men here, policymakers, ministers. This is very empowering for us to see something like that. And you do it so well, and it really inspires us as well. And I said, this is exactly why I do what I do, because women empowerment is not just about talking. It's not just about words. It's by living it and showing people, showing the world what it is to be an empowered woman.
This has been a conversation with Shalimar, and I'm not exactly sure how you have felt about this. It's slightly different from what Connected Minds would usually do. But again, there's a story to it. There's a lesson to it, which is the reason why we brought this conversation to you. So on the 9th of September, we're going to Kumasi for Connected Minds Live. So if you haven't gotten your ticket yet, check the description, click, and buy yourself a ticket. I'll see you there. My name is Derrick Abaitey. I'm out.